B1 brothers and sisters, welcome to Black Logic. So I'm going a lot earlier than already announced and already broadcasted. I'm going here at 2:30 or 2:40 rather, other than 7:30. Have some other things that I need to take care of a little later on. So my apologies for broadcasting and announcing that a lot earlier than which I'm going. But I started to think about this topic of empowerment because I think a lot of times, not just other groups, but even within ourselves, I don't want any foundational Black American to be waiting around for reparations. We have to empower ourselves in the many industries and the many sectors of life so we can continue to put forth and encourage and motivate our kids in order to do the right thing. So I really do think these things are imperative for us to note. There is a debt that's owed by this government to foundation Black Americans for the unpaid labor of our ancestors, and we will get paid our reparations. But in that, we must continue to empower ourselves, must continue to better ourselves each and every day. Now, I wanted to bring to note this story here of Black Harvard and Princeton students graduate at a higher rate than classmates overall, equally at Yale. This came out last year, July. Of course, our beautiful Black ladies here with their scholastic achievements. And I'm going to read this to you very quickly here, okay? It states that the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled race-conscious college admissions policies and practices unconstitutional. Affirmative action opponents have long argued that admitting presumably unqualified applicants of color to highly selective institutions set those students up for failure because they can't do the work. They can't do the work. If completing a bachelor's degree is a reasonable measure of whether someone has what it takes to succeed in the Ivy League or at another highly selective university, then federal data from 3 institutions where admission slots are among the most coveted in the world confirm that Black students are indeed more than capable and deserving of the opportunities that they earn. Well, family, here we go again. We're back with another powerful episode of Black Empowerment for Foundational Black Americans. And today, as we started off here, we're going to really dive into how we can empower ourselves economically, politically, and socially. Let's talk about building Black businesses, fostering youth entrepreneurship, and getting our people into positions of power. And again, this is a message of empowerment, but it still encompasses reparations on the back end. Because again, that's a debt that's to be owed, and that will get paid. Now, first things first, let's talk about doing business with one another. Imagine if every dollar spent in our community stayed in our community. And a lot of times people are unfamiliar when people are stating what the Black community is, because a lot of Black people, if they're not low impoverished, don't live together. So they have these, I guess, meager earnings. But in a sense, family, there is a way that we can do silent protests. And that's not doing business with non-foundational Black Americans in your area, even though in the broader spectrum of business, you're always going to do business with people who are not your race. Asians do business with white, Asians do business with Hispanics, et cetera, and vice versa. Everything is intertwined when it comes to business. But when they have the opportunity to do business with their kind, that's what they do. That's called self-empowerment. That's called community and empowerment, okay? And that's the kind of economic power that I'm talking about, because it's important that we do that. That's the only way that the Black dollar is going to stay in the Black community and empower Black people. When we look back on history, and again, we have to go to history because history is the foundation of a lot of the energy and motivation that our people take from our ancestors. Take, for instance, the Greenwood district in Oklahoma, which is kind of a reminder of the destruction of the white supremacists and when we built our own Wall Street. But this is a prime example of Black achievement. This is this is a great example of Black excellence. Now, before the tragic massacre of 1921, okay, it was a thriving hub of Black businesses and economic activity. And we need to bring that spirit back. Now, I see glimmers, I see glitz, I see small communities within Houston and small communities within Atlanta that is building these really robust Black meccas when it comes to economic opportunities and business. We have to support our Black-owned businesses. We have to invest in them. And if you're an entrepreneur, you have to seek out partnership within our community. It's about creating a robust network that uplifts us all. Think about it from banking and finance, right? To real estate, consulting, legal services, entertainment, and beyond. We have the talent and we have the drive. Now we need to unify and strategize, because I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, the big three with Ice Cube, I believe one of his major investors is a white guy. I don't know his name, but I believe he's a white guy. But think about if we could have got Black millionaires and Black billionaires to invest with the big three. Just think about that. And the opportunities and the employment and other investment could have stemmed off from that. But that's not what happened there, family. Stay with me. Because this is self-empowerment in conjunction with reparations. Because we need to shift our focus to the future, and especially with our youth, our children, our nephews, our nieces, our sons and daughters, encouraging our kids to explore untapped markets, especially in technology, which is very crucial. We're talking about coding, AI, cybersecurity, fintech, you name it. These fields are ripe with opportunities, and they're not going anywhere. Robotics. I had my son to read a book about engineering so he can know all the different facets, all the different industries of different engineering, whether it be a computer software engineer, mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, aerospace engineer. All these different engineers, that these are the fields that are going to be driving America. These are the fields that are driving the world. Then if you have, they have plenty of programs like Black Girls Code and R-Star Coding already paving the way, but we need to amplify these efforts, whether it be the parents, the mentors, or the educators. It's our duty to our youth to push and motivate our youth to these very high potential careers. Because empowerment isn't just about economics, right? It's just not about bag. It's not about just the money. That's a large part of it. But it's also about political power. Because in these programs, we need grassroots candidates who understand our struggle and our will to fight for our own agendas. Because again, family, when you live in a predominantly white or Asian community, and they're going out speaking to the aldermen, they're going out and speaking to the councilmen, they're not looking for the best interests of the Black residents there. For one thing, you're not the majority. But is a reminder to us of empowering people on a grassroots level. And here's the thing, family, I'm not stating that the candidate has to be Black. I'm not stating that. But they have to put forth our agenda in order for us to promote them and in order for us to support them. Whether it be on the ground, pounding the pavement for them, whether it be advertising and marketing for them, because that's what you're doing, or putting your dollar where your mouth is. As long as these people have our agenda and they're going to put forth our agenda, these are the people that we support. But usually those candidates come from a grassroots effort. That's where they come from. And it could be people like the city councilmen or aldermen or even mayors. All of these are critical that will directly affect you in your community, in your neighborhood, faster than you voting in the federal election. It's time to develop and support our candidates who can carry our agendas at a very local level. And again, family, the reason why I state that they necessarily don't have to look like us, because we have a lot of coons. And they'll talk the talk, they'll walk the walk, they'll be the mouthpiece of Black America just until they get into office. That's why when Black folk get together and we're supporting these political pundits, we need to start asking real questions like, what is your agenda for the district, ward, or whatever area you live in, for the county, whatever they reside in, whether they be an alderman or a councilman? What is your agenda? What are the things that you're going to improve that is going to directly affect me? That's important. That is very important, family. And those are the things that need to be pointed out. We have to be very strategic from coalition, attend city council meetings, and making our voices heard. Push for policies that benefit the Black family, from affordable housing and healthcare to education reform and economic development, because our vote, when it comes to this political spectrum or this political shit show that we're seeing, our votes and our voices matter. Because do you know they can create programs to make housing more affordable? They can do all sorts of housing programs to put people in housing. Have anyone seen an uptick on renting? They're building giant neighborhoods that look like regular housing community where people pay mortgage, and they're building this community to look like that, but you're going to rent. Where do you think that money is going? And not to get off topic, but we cannot forget about the empowerment spans across all industries, not just housing. We're talking about banking, finance, insurance, investment, real estate, wholesale, retail, transportation, consulting, legal services, tourism, hospitality, entertainment, repair, and maintenance. All of those fields need to have Black representation, because every sector is an opportunity to excel and dominate. Because that's what everybody else is doing. They're exploiting what's already open. Did you know that the Community Investment Act of 1977 was designed to encourage financial institutions to help meet the credit needs of all communities, including Black communities? Now, again, a lot of these quote unquote legislation has been very difficult for Black people to use to propel their businesses or their communities far forward. But a lot of these programs exist, and some people have been benefiting off it. So it's just good. And also, there is a minority business development agency. Okay, they have been working to promote growth of certain minority businesses. But these laws are in place, and it's up to us to leverage them to our advantage. Even when it comes to contracting, right? There's a quota. There's a certain percentage that the federal government has to allow Black entrepreneurs, Black contractors to at least put up the bid in order to get some of these contracts. And of course, the government, they take the least, the cheapest contract they can find. So sometimes we have to lower our value to at least get in the door and show our worth. But that's the things we've been doing for hundreds of years. We have the power, family, to transform our communities. Yes, we do. But it starts with supporting each other, supporting our businesses, guiding our youth into high growth fields, and taking political action. We create, believe it or not, you know this to be true because we've done it time and time again throughout history. We can create a future where Black empowerment isn't just small talk. Black empowerment just isn't a dream. Black empowerment isn't just a folklore. Black empowerment is just not a fantasy, but it is a reality. It's a reality. But we have to really strategize how we go about this thing. And it doesn't take hands across America. It doesn't take that. It doesn't take all the Black people, kumbaya. We can do these things right there in your own home, right there in your own office. You have all sorts of Black businesses online that you can put the Black dollar to. And sometimes we may have to pay a little bit more, because when small businesses start to really when small businesses first start off, some things seem to be more expensive than the competitors, and they have to do that because of overhead and all other sorts of things when it comes to sell merchandise, etc. But we have to build our own Black Wall Streets, family. And because of the internet, there's really no excuse. There's no distance we can't travel through the virtual airways. There's no roads. We can directly affect Black businesses by investing and giving them our business versus everybody else. When it's feasible, okay, when it's feasible to do. There's a Black grocery store 100 miles. I'm not stating that you have to drive to the Black grocery store that's 100 miles. You might just go to your Kroger, your Safeway, your Giant, etc. Okay, or your Whole Paycheck, also known as Whole Foods. That's what we have to look at this. We have to look at this from an empowerment standpoint, okay? So empowerment. Authority or power to someone to do something. The process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights. Empowerment. I want you guys to think about technology. I want you guys to really think about technology. Because I know a lot of people, when they're talking about technology, because it's just not about coding, okay? But it's about innovation. We really need to get our kids interested in STEM or STEAM, okay? The science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and arts, whatever. This is important because this is literally the future. I mean, it's the present and the future. And this is not going anywhere. These markets, these industries are growing exponentially and they're not slowing down. So you should encourage your kids or push your kids or make your kids, like I do, I'm not kidding, to participate in coding camps, robotic clubs, science fairs. Show them Black tech entrepreneurs like, what's the fella's name? Tristan Walker, who founded Walker & Company, and how they're making waves in the industry. Let's plant the seed that they can start their own tech companies one day. Like my son, he wants to be a mechanical engineer because we told him, we don't really care about what you want to be. I know this is, I'm gonna get myself in trouble. I know a lot of times when we look at Tiger Woods or Serena Williams, how their fathers, or even Michael Jackson to that point, just highlighting a foundational Black American, how their parents were very harsh in the way they went about training them to be the great athletes they are today, or the great star that Michael Jackson before his path. Family, our very existence is at stake here. And the only thing you have to do is motivate, encourage, and inform your kids like I do. Because he stated on his own accord, I want to be a mechanical engineer. I say, hey, listen, right now you're going into the engineering field, or you're going into the robotics field, you're going into the IT field. So pick something in that field, because I'm trying to prepare his mind. Now, granted, that doesn't mean that's all he has to do. There's so many other industries, but I want him with a skill. I want him with a knowledge base where if something else doesn't work out, he has something to fall back on. He has a contingency plan. What about an emerging or a booming market? Okay, it's been very silent lately because a lot of people are no longer really talking about global warming, but they are. But what about renewable energy? Because the world within itself is really shifting towards renewable energy and the sources where they come from. And we need to be at the forefront of this change, whether it be solar power, wind energy, electrical vehicles, because we already know the electrical vehicle market is about to be oversaturated. Everybody's getting into it. They're trying to replace gasoline cars. And in family, I'm great for innovation. I'm good for innovation, but I'm not running to the nearest remote control, electrical car shop to go get one until the infrastructure of electric car charging supports all the electric vehicles that's going to be here. Because again, this market has been booming for the past 10 years or so, and it's rapidly growing where traditional car makers build their cars with gasoline are now making electrical versions of these cars. But again, the infrastructure doesn't support it. And some people, again, would debate, oh, well, they have charging stations all through America, but not as readily available or near your local school, house, clinic, etc. Meaning you can't just go up to the nearest quote unquote charging station or gas station from your home. Usually they're at a hotel, they're somewhere in the industrial part of town. Now get it. In some cities and states, they are become more readily available. So I do understand that as well. Okay. But we should definitely be encouraging our children to study environmental science and, as I stated before, engineering. Okay. But there's so many sectors that we can push our kids into so they can be marketable. Either they're going to create a job or get a job and build a career. Healthcare is another field that's not going anywhere. We need more Black doctors and nurses and researchers and scientists and healthcare administrators. We need all of these things. And there are certain programs in HBCUs like the Medical School Network. They have these, courses with that. They are very essential, but we need to start pushing our kids towards these particular opportunities. And one of my favorite subjects, family, is finance. Understanding money, how to make money, how to manage money, how to grow money. All of these things are very crucial. And our kids should be the ones who learn this. They should be the ones who absolutely learn this. But they're not going to learn this without your motivation. They're not going to learn this without your encouragement. They're not going to learn this unless you push them. They're not. Now, some of your kids they're going to go off and be great on their own. But a lot of our kids need that motivation. A lot of our kids need that push. And there's resources, like the junior achievement and financial literacy programs in particular communities. Those things can help. Engineering and financial classes with even their grade school, whether it be middle school or high school or junior high school. But we can show them examples of Black financial moguls like Melody Houston or Robert F. Smith. I believe Robert F. Smith, was it last year or 2 years ago, he paid for all the he paid everyone's debt from school at HBCU. And correct me if I'm wrong, family. You can put that in the chat. I do not recall the HBCU that Robert F. Smith paid. He's a Black billionaire. He paid for the entire graduating class. He paid for all of their debt. So essentially, whatever they had left on the books, they're starting off with a clean slate, no debt. And let them know they can achieve the same thing. Because we need to encourage our children when they have great ideas, or whether they're being inventors or innovators, okay, or they know how to put the right people together, encourage them to start small businesses. Teach your kids how to invest in stocks and the importance of it, and understand the power of economic independence. That's what we really need to do. Because besides the reparations conversation, family, what we are owed, that's a debt to foundational Black Americans, the future is in our hands. The future is in our hands. We can't just be sitting around waiting for reparations. I'm just going, them Black empowerment guys out there, they're fighting for reparations. So I'm just going to sit here and wait till I get my check, like the PPP and the stimulus check. No, fam. Most of these people don't know Black people's history. God bless his Morehouse. Absolutely. I see that I'm having some technical difficulties here as I'm switching over. So I don't know if you guys heard that last bit, but the point I was making is that whether you're a parent, a mentor, a leader, it's our duty that we preach, motivate, and encourage our children to the pathway of success. We have to empower them with knowledge. We have to support them. We have to maybe take up a small part-time job to get them in that engineering program, to get them in that young doctor's program, whatever it may be, and inspire them with examples. And here's another thing, family. Yes, they can go to everybody want their child to go to a 4-year college. But family, that's not the end all be all. There's a lot of trades that you can push your kids in because some of our kids are just not students. They're not savvy. They don't want to sit and go to class after class after class. They just not built like that. They might have to go out and get a trade. They may have to go out and get licensing. They might have to go out and get certification. Then so be it. Empower them to do so. Some of the richest people in the world never went to college. We have to inspire them with examples of our past. We have to inspire them with examples in the present. Because together, again, together, we can create a generation of Black excellence that will change the entire world. But it starts with us. And it starts with us, family. You guys have a great and wonderful day. I see you guys on the next. Be one.